Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope that you're all doing very well today. Boy, just got done with a nice workout session, so if I look a little bit dead and a little bit glistening, then I apologize for my deadness and my glisteniness. If you're able to see the glisteniness on this camera, I don't think you are, but anyways, so that's the point. I got a little bit of a different video for you guys today in comparison to my usual content. Just because a little while ago I decided to make a bit of a drastic change in myself. And it's all come about in a little bit of a coming to realization moment with myself that I had a while ago, and you know, where I was really at physically. I definitely let myself go a little while ago, and it led me to not being the heaviest that I've ever been, but definitely the most unhealthy that I've ever been. I was pushing about 240 pounds, and that was not the greatest 240 pounds. Basically, I was just really sluggish all the time. I had a lot of health issues that I didn't need to go get seen for by any means, but I could definitely feel coming on just inside of me and just moving, you know, throughout day-to-day life. And in general, it just wasn't really pleasant for me overall, just period, being in that state. So one day I decided that I really needed to change that about myself. So I adopted a routine and stuck with it for a very long while. And in the first 3 months, which is where the biggest part of my weight loss happened, I had lost 50 pounds over those 3 months. And right now I'm currently at 190 pounds, which is the lightest that I have been in a very long time. And I definitely do feel the healthiest that I have been in a very long time as well. I just wanted to walk you guys through the routine that helped me lose 50 pounds over the span of 3 months, in case anybody else out here is looking to do the same thing. Maybe not in such a drastic manner of, you know, 50 pounds over the span of 3 months, but if any of you guys are looking for just general weight loss tips, or, you know, looking on how and or where to start with any of this, well, here you go. Top of the morning to you, ladies and gents. It is the morning after the day that I had filmed that clip, because I'm not gonna lie, yesterday I was very fucking tired and I was just very much out of it. But that actually kind of works out, because the first thing that I had actually started doing with this little weight loss journey was starting intermittent fasting. So with the style of fasting that I did a 14-10 split, which basically means 14 hours with absolutely no food / just calories going into my system, period. The only thing that I did put into my body during those 14 hours was water. And then for that little 10-hour window that I did eat, it was mostly consisting of 2 bigger meals and a little snack right before I was about to work out, which actually was kind of right in the middle of my 10-hour period. I definitely would say this is what helped me the most during my little weight loss journey. However, it was also one of the biggest pains in my ass to actually continue. Going from eating 3 square meals a day or just eating whenever to having to schedule out when you do eat can be a little bit daunting sometimes. And it definitely made me feel hungry all of the time. Even after eating my first meal of the day at about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, no matter what I ate, it still felt like I was hungry for more. And I would highly recommend fasting to anybody out there that is looking to lose weight. However, I would also say be very cautious and very careful when you do start fasting. Not everyone's bodies or digestive tracts are all wired the same. And there is a great possibility that there could be some greatly negative side effects that can come from trying to start fasting. However, it is very rare that that is actually the case. And it's more just kind of a testament of will and if you're actually able to do it. But if you are able to do it, I would definitely say fasting is one of the biggest things that helped me lose a lot of this weight. All right, oh shit. I forgot this chair needed a lock. So that was almost cool. I almost just hit my head on that. That was great. Alrighty, so your boy is now at work. I figured this would be a perfect time to segue into the next thing that helped me lose a lot of weight, which was dieting / in all reality, lack thereof. Yeah, I didn't really change a lot of my diet. Like, I didn't go on some crazy like keto diet or vegetarian or vegan diet or anything of that sort. I essentially just cleaned up a lot of what I was already eating and stayed away from a lot of processed foods, which in all reality, in today's day and age, is actually a lot harder to do just because of the fact that there is so much processed food out there. But the one rule that I always stood by with myself, and the one rule that I kind of kept for myself, was what I called the 85-15 rule, where basically 85% of what I was eating was not processed or, you know, any of those really big junky, you know, garbage foods. However, no one's perfect and everyone gets cravings. You'd be a liar if you say you didn't. But as long as you could contain yourself the majority of the time that you get those cravings and only allow yourself to have those, you know, very scarcely, it actually works out pretty good in the end, because then you don't really feel like you're having to put a lot of effort into changing up your diet, and you feel a lot less, you know, bad at the end of the day if you do end up having one of those days where you end up just going ahead and just treating yourself, if you will. It's just more about watching what you eat, how much you eat of it, and when you do decide to go and be a fat ass, how much of a fat ass you're really gonna be. Anyways, I gotta go ahead and get back to work right now, but I will lead into this next point when I am off of work. Alrighty, now that I am done with that absolute nightmare, not only is it time for me to actually get this done right now, because this is usually when I would get this part of my daily routine done, but it is also time for me to explain the last thing that helped me drop all of this weight, and probably the one that everyone was expecting from the very beginning, but that is exercise. I know a lot of people out there are like, oh, obviously you need to exercise to lose the weight. Yeah. But in all reality, there are very different types of training, and there's very different ways in which you can exercise. Some of them are more geared towards losing weight. Some of them are more geared towards building muscle. Some are more geared towards gaining strength. There's a lot of different types of, you know, exercise. And amongst the fitness community, it has been one of the largest and most controversial topics for a very long time now, and that is, does doing cardio actually help you lose weight? And primary example here, yes. Now, in terms of what style of cardio to do, there really is no right or wrong answer to it. It more really just depends on you and what you feel the most comfortable doing. For example, the style of cardio that I ended up clinging to the most, and the one that I ended up doing the most entirely, was running. Something that you're able to maintain at a comfortable pace for your own body, but also something that's gonna, you know, push you a little bit and make you sweat. I find just a nice casual, what I call a conversation pace jog, is definitely where I did the most of my running at. Conversation pace basically means, like, if you were to be running alongside somebody, could you comfortably have a conversation with them for the entire duration of your run? And if the answer to that is yes, then that means that you're running at the right speed and at the right tempo for, you know, your jog. Whew. Alrighty, currently halfway done with my run right now. About I don't know if you can see that there because it's all backwards and all that, but I'm about 3.1 miles in to my 6-mile run right now. I feel pretty good overall, aside from a couple of things that are going on right now in my inner workings. The video on that coming soon. That conversation pace that I was discussing earlier, for me personally, I find that to be around 10 minutes per mile. It ain't the fastest by any means, but you know, it's a pace that I'm able to keep steady. And as you can tell, it gets me very sweaty and soaked and dead and all. Alrighty, now that, there we go, focus. Got that done. Back to the point that I was making before I started my run. There's a lot of controversy around the topic of, is cardio, you know, really effective, and should you really do it if you were trying to lose weight? And I absolutely agree with that after experiencing it firsthand. I implemented running very slowly into my workout routine. I only started with running 1 mile after every other workout that I did, and I was doing around 4 workouts a week. And then I went from a 4-day schedule to a 5-day schedule, and that 5th day I implemented a day where I only ran. But just slowly implementing it so that your body is able to naturally get used to it and not, you know, die from it. And keeping it steady with the rest of your training as well definitely does help with losing weight. So to summarize my 3 major points and my 3 major things that I did to lose 50 pounds in 3 months, and actually lose a little bit more afterwards, but you know, thumbnail wise, we gotta say 50 pounds in 3 months. Intermittent fasting at your own pace and at your own leisure. Like I said, 14-10 was what worked for me, but I also work a lot and I, you know, don't have access to food and or a kitchen all the time. But a 14 to 10 hour split will still give you all of the effects that intermittent fasting would give you, and it's a very comfortable one to maintain as well. Cleaning up your diet, but also not necessarily changing it so drastically, and implementing cardio into all of your workouts no matter what, even if it's, a little amount or if it's, a large amount. Definitely implementing cardio is very important to weight loss. Fuck off all the people who say otherwise. Anyways, that is going to do it for today's video. Please do subscribe to the channel. And if you did like this video, then please like the video. That's kind of self-explanatory. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.